Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to install this new USB car charger on my LR4. This is to go next to the 12 volt connector that exists already at the back of the Land Rover 4's cargo area. I'm going to use the power of the Land Rover 4 as well. This is a 5 volt USB type A with two sockets, 1 amp and 2.1 amps for charging and giving power. Also has the cable which you can connect to the back of that, which will be wired into the 12 volt, plus it has an inbuilt fuse. I'm going to put it on this side. I was going to do it on the other side, but I think the back side is better. But before we do anything, you have to make sure you take the fuse out. So the existing 12 volt circuit has a fuse, and you can see from the manual it's the auxiliary power socket rear number 55. It's a 20 amp rated fuse. It is located behind the lower glove box, and so the glove box has these two springs that you push in at the back. I say springs, they need a little bit of work, they're more like clips. So once you release them both, it drops down. You can see the table appears for the fuse guide. There's several sockets on this, like cigarette lighter sockets. There's the 55 and the 63 is another one. You can see in here there's three 20s with that 15 on that lower right sign. That the 15 amp fuse is the one that is to come out. So pair of pliers, off you go. Just leave it there. So we want to get access to this 12 volt socket so we can access the power off of it. There is this access point here which you can get to the subwoofer's place for storing different things on the LR4, but I think you have to pull this panel away. So there's a few obstacles, and the best way is to grab onto the weather sealing. It just slides right off, and you pull it all the way down. So you really want to take that lower grey plastic corner out. So just round to the side and to the bottom there, and it's pretty easy to get your hand in there. You can see I get my fingers in, and then you just pop it like a typical panel. Now this obstacle down here is the tailgate, and you can see you have to pop that off, but don't let go of it because it'll fly all the way back into there. Now I guess because we're taking the panel out, that's not such a big deal, but just tighten a loop so it doesn't pop through. Now you can actually move this panel out away a bit more from the side. There's a bit of a popper at the bottom that can come off, and some along the top, actually right along under the window, seem to come out as well. You can actually pull this away as well, and you can brace it with some hard object like a piece of wood. And you can see in the back here there's access. There's some sound deadening or insulation that's there. You can see the back area there where you might want to drill through. It's quite a good space. It's a good idea to tape down the soundproofing so that when you drill through it doesn't get caught in it, and you'll see why later when I drill through. So just there, you can see the socket there as well for the 12 volt. That actually comes out by twisting. This is the 12 volt power. Those little clips come out. If you push them down with a screwdriver, you can pop out from that connector, and that's going to make it a little easier to work on later. So this is where I'm going to drill right through here. I'm going to put the new USB socket into that location. I did look at the other side, but just feeling around, there is some ribbing in there. I also want to make sure I get the right height away from those bends inside. So here's where I've marked it up. There's definitely clearance on the top and the sides. So when I put the tightener on the back, it'll be good. Using a 1-inch drill with a pilot drill. Now I probably should have center punched this, so when you see when I come to drill it, despite my best efforts, I did wander a little bit from the center of my mark. So you punch through with a drill. It's really soft plastic, and then I was able to guide that back with the lead of the other drill. So this drill bit is for wood, but it nicely slices through a thin sheet. As you can see, my taping didn't work very well, so now I cut that stuff. But this hole is slightly smaller than it needs to be. So what I wanted to do was file it out so I get a nice fit. Took a bit more effort than I wanted, but you know, you get there in the end. And so there I was able to push it in. So now you want to make sure that you've got it where you want it, and then you have to go in the back and put the clamping ring on it. There you go, and now that's in. I got to figure out the wiring now. And so I was able to push that wiring down through that hole and then into that cavity below that I showed earlier. And you can see that those two new connectors need to go onto that. Got my solder out. That's the old connection. The purple wire is the positive and the black wire is the negative, and I'm going to splice into those by taking off the coating, and I'm going to wrap around and solder the two new wires on it. Red to positive, black to negative. Now, don't recommend anybody to do this unless you know what you're doing and it's your vehicle, and you should be aware of any consequences that you have when you wire up your own vehicle. Once you have the wires spliced and soldered or soldered, I can put some electrical tape on it, hold it together, and I put the connection, orange connector, back into the original plug. And then also I now have the extended two connectors that can go into the USB. Here you can see the finished article plugged in, nice and secure. Let the cable drop down into this area for easy access if you need to change that 10 amp fuse. So putting the fuse back in, the 20 amp fuse, now we have power. Just check all the circuitry is working. So there it is, installed fairly easily, existing power. Now they won't work with the engine off because that's how the circuitry works. You have to get direct power from the battery if you're going to do that, or from another circuit that's permanent. But for my purposes, that's fine for now. If I put an auxiliary battery in later, I'll wire it up to that so that I don't have to use the main battery. So if you got this far, thank you for watching. This is my first video on this channel, so please subscribe and give us a thumbs up or leave a comment below, and I look forward to making some more videos. Cheers!